Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I plan to do something a little bit different. Do a voiceover as I go on a walk. In this video, I'm walking through the downtown area of San Jose, California, showing you guys what downtown San Jose looks like on about 9:30 in the morning on a weekend. So it's pretty quiet, as you'll see, and not a lot going on. But sometimes those are the best walks to go on when there's not a whole lot going on and you can kind of just be in your head and focus and think and clear your mind, if you will. However, in this video, what I like to do is somewhat of a channel introduction. I feel as though that's something that's long overdue. As you've all seen, I've posted different videos on my channel of me walking in different places and different cities and giving you a bit of background and history on that location I'm at. But what I've never done is an actual introduction video to explain to everyone and new viewers what it is I hope to achieve on my YouTube channel and what it is that you could all look out for and hope for with my YouTube channel. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm here on YouTube. And as you can already see, I like to do these walking videos with the different places that I travel to. So you might ask what it brings me to so many different places. And the answer to that is that I'm a flight attendant. So as you can imagine, I travel a lot for work. That is my main purpose for work. It is traveling, getting on a plane and going somewhere. And that takes me around the world, so to speak. And traveling has been a passion of mine since I was 18 years old. When I was 18 years old, my best friend and we got on a plane and traveled halfway around the world to Taiwan, Taipei to be specific. And it wasn't random. You know, we had different friends from working at a summer job in an amusement park in the summer. We made some friends from Taiwan and always thought that the Chinese language was so cool and always thought that Taiwan would be such a great place to visit since we've made so many friends from Taiwan. So he and I got on a plane and traveled 13 hours to Taiwan, our first time out of the country. And as you can imagine, you know, for two, as we like to say, snot-nosed kids back then, when we talk about it, it was quite the experience. I absolutely fell in love with traveling, and I thought that if I just traveled every day of my life for the rest of my life, all my problems would go away and I would just be so happy. Unfortunately, it doesn't work quite that way, but it's pretty close. And while we were in Taiwan, just being able to, this was back in 2012, so the internet was around, of course, and cell phones and whatnot, but it wasn't what it is today. Uh, you had websites and forums, but not like it is today. There wasn't a multitude of YouTube videos or their Instagram or TikTok or anything like that. Or Google Translate wasn't really that big. So a lot of it was winging it on our part. You know, we stayed at a hotel and made sure the hotel had a translator and a currency exchange and a chauffeur service, all these things. We wanted to cover all of these bases to make sure that, you know, when we travel throughout Taiwan and through Taipei, we do it right and, you know, it, so to speak, right? And it was quite the experience. We traveled all around the country to different cities in Taiwan, and we didn't want to leave. But reality set in, and we had to leave eventually. And it was a 3 week trip, so to speak, that forever changed our hearts and minds and our perspective of the world. Coming from the United States, sometimes you tend to think, especially back then, that these different places around the world, they're only achievable and you only get to see them on TV, movies, and magazines and things like that. So to actually be able to go and at such a young age really opened my mind to different perspectives and to be able to think like people are speaking a completely different language. I'm looking around at signs and billboards, and I don't understand anything. It's in a different language. You know, it's in Mandarin, and this is completely different. I couldn't even guess what it is if I wanted to. So eventually, we went back home, and with heavy hearts, and he and I both joined the military right after that, a few months right after coming back from our trip, or actually after I got back from Taiwan. Less than a month later, I shipped out to the Marine Corps, and I was fortunate enough to be stationed in Japan, which is exactly what I wanted. I was bit with the travel bug when I went to Taiwan, and there's nothing I wanted more than to be stationed and live in another country, and know that I could be there permanently for an extended period of time and not just a few weeks. So I can be able to really study the language and get to know the culture and the culinary and everything for a long period of time, and see what it's like to live in a place in a foreign country. So that is what happened. I was stationed in Japan, Okinawa, Japan to be specific, for the better part of 2 years. And throughout those 2 years, I traveled a lot throughout Southeast Asia. I traveled to Taiwan multiple times. I was an hour flight away from Taiwan. So as you can imagine, I went back multiple times to see my friends. I brought new friends to go with me to Taiwan, brought new friends to travel with throughout mainland Japan, Tokyo, and South Korea, Thailand, Hong Kong, you name it. So I was truly fortunate to have these experiences traveling and to be able to live out my passion, to see new places and try new foods, and test out my language skills with different people and whatever the case may be, and try to order food and without speaking the language, the local language, and without the waiter or waitress understanding English. And it was all just a great adventure that you kind of can't put a price on. And I'm sure those of you that do travel, which are probably a lot of you who watch my channel, have an interest, passion in traveling, or history in traveling, you could understand where I'm coming from. So I traveled throughout Asia, traveled throughout Europe, throughout my experience in my tenure in the Marine Corps. Went from Western Europe, all the way from the United Kingdom to Germany, all the way to Greece, all the way to Poland and Romania. And every place I went to was different and unique in its own way. And that is the beauty of traveling, in my opinion. I also lived in Brazil for quite a period of time as well, which leads me to my next point, which is no surprise here. You all notice in my videos that I speak Portuguese, and that's because I lived in Brazil for a bit. And in another video, I'll talk about Brazil, and I'll talk about my experience learning a foreign language. And I actually didn't learn to speak Portuguese in Brazil. I learned to speak Portuguese in Japan. I taught myself to speak Portuguese and while living in Japan. And for another video, I'll dive deep into that. I'll dive deep into what it means to learn a foreign language and why I think everyone should push yourself and try to learn a foreign language. I think it opens up different opportunities if that's what you want. I think it opens up different friendships and abilities to watch movies and TV shows in a different language, and it truly opens up, unlocks a different universe, in my opinion, when you speak another language. So I highly recommend everyone to go speak another language. Go immerse yourself in another culture if you can, and learn a foreign language. And I'll save that for another video to go into more detail. And as you can see, the types of travel videos I do are walking videos. You can see that I've been doing videos in California, to Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, to you name it, Philadelphia. And the reason why I do these walking videos is because I found out about these videos maybe about 2 years ago on YouTube, and I thought it was a great idea to do these videos. And I love walking videos in particular because I feel as though there's no better type of YouTube video, in my opinion, that gives you a very authentic glimpse of what a certain place is like than these walking videos. And sure, some of the videos might be long, 15 minutes all the way. I've seen walking videos for posted on YouTube that are 3 hours long. But there's something extremely special about these types of videos, in my opinion, because they give you a very authentic and genuine look at what it's like to be in that said place. I personally think they're the best kind of travel video. I think these types of walking videos are perfect to watch on your TV. You pull up YouTube on your TV, and maybe you're having dinner, maybe you're working on some schoolwork, or you're doing some actual work, or whatever the case may be, having a conversation with friends, and you kind of periodically just look up and glance at the TV, and you see someone walking in a different city you've never been to, or that you have been to and you miss and you'd love to go back. And I feel as though these videos really make you feel like you're actually there, you're actually part of everyone else. And one of my favorite things to do when I travel to a new place is walk around. It is absolutely one of my favorite things to do. It's one of my favorite ways to travel and really get to seek out the culture and some experiences and make friends, is just walking, you know. Buses are great, and skydiving is great, and snorkeling is great, but there's something about just going someplace and walking that makes you really feel like you're part of everyone. When you're overhearing conversations as other people are walking by on the telephone, and you may not understand anything they're saying, but you honestly feel like you're part of that. You're part of everyone else there. You're smelling the food as you're walking down the street. You might be walking down a deserted street and wondering, what's this street about? It's just deserted and somewhat residential. You might be walking down a very populated street, a cobblestone street that's flanked with restaurants and pubs and bars and shops and cafes on either side, and you're smelling this aroma of different smells, whether it's food, whether it's anything. And there's something great about that in my opinion, which is why whenever I go to a new place, I love to just walk, or to the same place. I love to just walk, and walking allows me to clear my mind. It allows me to think. It allows me to think clearly, and even not necessarily be in my head. You just walk straight, and that's it. And you look around, and maybe you talk to someone, and maybe you practice your language learning skills with a local somewhere, and you ask for directions. And there's something very underrated about going someplace to a foreign country, or even to your own country, just a different city, and just walking around for as far as your legs take you. And that's what I like to do when I go to different places. Whenever I'm at work and I have a layover in a different city, or whether I travel on my own time on vacation or on my off days for leisure, I love to just walk. And sounds kind of boring, but when you're walking and you're observing and you people watch, you learn a lot, and there's something special about that, in my opinion. And hopefully I'll be able to make you feel as well that you're there without actually being there. Maybe the different places I go to are places you've always dreamed of going, and I can make you feel like you're there and motivate you more to finally get to go there. Or maybe the places I go to remind you of a different place, and it sparks more interest. Maybe the places I go to are some place you've already been and you want to go back, or you don't want to go back, but it sparks interest, and you say, you know what, maybe I'll put that place back on my list. It's not that bad. Or maybe different cities I go to and walk around remind you of another place, and that inspires you to get on a plane and go, or get on a bus and go and walk around and feel like you're there, part of the culture as a local. So whether it's me going to Tokyo, Japan, or walking around London, or walking around the beautiful beaches of Rio or Hawaii, or whether it's me walking around a small town in Brazil that you've never heard of, or a small town or medium-sized town in the United States that you've never heard of, or only heard of in a movie or a TV show or a song. Hopefully there's something you can take from it and that you can enjoy, and hopefully my words can be inspiring with the different things I talk about, whether it's happiness, whether it's love, whether it's motivation, whether it's a healthy lifestyle. Hopefully it can inspire you. So thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and until my next video.